I'm Ali Paterson and welcome to the Paytech Show. We're going to be asking the question whether payments change the banks or the banks change payments. In a world with high volume, low value payments being transacted at real time, how can the banks keep up? By being smart and keeping their data quality clean, banks can not only meet the current standard of payments reconciliation, but go on to become the best in class for years to come. Joining me today, we have Santosh Tripathy from SmartStream Technologies, a recognized leader in financial transaction management solutions that enables firms to improve operational control and reduce costs. One of our Fintech finance regulars, David McHenry from Silicon Valley Bank, calls in to lend his expertise when it comes to new payment technology and innovations. And dialing in from Holland, we have the head of transaction services at ING, Mark Buitenhek, who is a board member at Swift in addition to his roles. So it'll be very exciting to hear his perspective for this. To get a bit of background of the payment scene, I asked Santosh how he thought payments industry had changed over the last couple of years.
Coming to the digital payment space, you are so right. In the recent years, we have seen big innovations, and most of these innovations are to iron out the challenges the industry was facing. The challenges were in different segments, and we are seeing innovations focused on these areas, right from how the cards are issued, how the transactions are acquired, how they are processed, how they are settled. Everything has become very quick, frictionless, and seamless, and there are players playing a very efficient role in these areas. So the challenges, some of it was the settlement happening, let's say, in batches. Now we're talking about real-time payments, changing it completely, where the settlement and the transfer of payment is happening almost in real time. Open banking is another area where the consolidation of the entire banking services was prevalent, especially in Australia and in UK. The large banks were controlling almost 80 to 90% of the banking services, which was a risk for any country. So open banking has ironed out that challenge as well. It has led to innovations and fintech companies getting much more involved in the payment space. The other challenges which kind of exist and where SmartStream is playing a role is in the operational control space. And the challenges where, again, the reconciliation, the fee calculation, the dispute management was an end of the day process. And SmartStream is trying to bring that also in the real-time scenario, where everything is managed and controlled and handled in almost near real-time basis.
Has open banking and the regulations around it been one of the leading causes of innovation within the payment sector?
To be honest, it has triggered, let's say, at least the debate about the future of payments, and not only the future of payments. In the UK, open banking has been launched. In Europe, within the EU, it was focused on payments. Recently, by the way, the European Commission has announced that they will go even further. So they will move not so much from PSD2 to open banking, but they immediately jump to open finance. And we're seeing this as the future of the financial industry, where you're much more open, where you have to share, as long as your customer gives consent, the data with each other. But it has not yet materialized in, let's say, a huge usage. A recent survey of that ING did across Europe in, I guess it was somewhere between 10 and 20 countries, still revealed a lot of people are still suspicious about these kind of things. They're afraid to use it. They ask questions about data integrity and data protection and those kind of things. And you can see it. We carefully watch what's happening in the UK, because they started a year earlier. You now see slowly a pickup, but you're still talking about a few percent. And what we're witnessing, the usage of PSD related services, not only on the payments and pure aggregation, but let's say all kinds of new ideas popping up, is that we're seeing a doubling every month of what people are using, but the starting point is extremely low. So we're talking about, if I can look at ING and I have the number in my head, I think we're now at roughly 250,000 of our clients using these type of services, and we're having more than 40 million customers. So it's still relatively small.
That open banking is the iPhone moment of payments, where the developers, when were allowed to participate or collaborate, we saw a big surge in the apps that we see today, and it led to the coming up of new applications in cell phone, and the whole everything became so much handy and easy with the phones. And likewise, in open banking, it has led to the participation of the fintechs in the payment space. The ecosystem is now supporting instead of hindering the innovations and changes where the friction was there. There was big friction in which how you'll onboard a new client, how you can open a new account. Now things are in almost few clicks of a button and you have a bank account. You become part of the financial ecosystem. Now imagine how that is for a change which wasn't even unimaginable 5 years back. So open banking is, I would say, one of the most important and monumental change that has been brought to the financial industry by the regulators. So here they are opening up instead of they are controlling. Usually regulators are seen as people who are restricting and stopping things from change. But this is one area in open banking they have brought about a change and opened the financial industry to the best in providers who are innovating at a pace which was difficult to imagine a few years back. Very, very promising change in payments industry.
PSD2 as a regulatory set was such a big, wide scoping group of various regulations, everything from the open banking, the API pieces to how payments are processed and how secure customer authentication works. So there were so many things that demanded so much time and investment by financial institutions and payment providers and payment facilitators across all of Europe and in the UK, that really has been the last 2 or 3 years of the industry's investment. And you could say that some of that was investment to become minimally viably compliant, but it was a huge shift to put everybody on the same footing in terms of capabilities and then look to what's next and what can be built on top of that. So I think we're starting to see the green shoots, whether it's the baseline account aggregation pieces that are starting to happen. But then you think about the payment integration pieces that open banking is going to provide and biometric secure authentication as that becomes more and more online. Those changes are going to be really kind of the next stage of what you see as kind of consumers, small businesses, corporates interactions with financial institutions and payment providers are in and around the UK and Europe.
Now, looking back at all of these changes, can you tell me a little bit about some of the work that SmartStream has been doing in this space to help some of your clients, particularly the large, huge multinational banks?
We are working on a mission here. We are working on a mission to bring the seamless and frictionless experience in the operations space. The velocity, the variety, and the volume of the transactions in the digital payment space and the rate at which they are changing is huge, which means some of these challenges are trickled down to the operations, and operations would find it difficult tomorrow if the payment modes are changing, payment methods are changing, the whole ecosystem is coming up with new variety of transactions flow. How would operations handle that? So we are working with our partners, which are banks and also with other participants of the digital payment ecosystem to RN that problems. We are taking that burden on behalf of our partners, where we are saying, okay, you have a platform which is robust, which can be scalable, has no restriction on the way transactions are captured or processed. We are agnostic to all of that, which allows the business to grow at the speed that they are interested at. Operations would not and shall not become a bottleneck to the growth of the business, especially in payment space, because the rate is amazing. The rate at which it's changing is amazing. It's helping everyone who's involved as part of the ecosystem, and we are there to support, and we are solidly supporting our partners in this whole journey.
The need to be able to do smaller payments, whether it's for reading an article or whatever. I can still remember 20 years ago when we simply couldn't offer a product that was cheap enough or had scale enough to make sense. The transaction itself cost more than the thing they're trying to buy. If you want to buy an article for 10 cents, the payments transaction itself cost 15. That has in the meantime completely disappeared. If you're working on not only high volume and low value transaction and instant, but also 24/7, it is more crucial than ever. We are really moving into, let's say, a platform kind of thinking across the world, where being able to process this flawlessly, because remember, if you look at some of the other industries, they can afford, let's say, making mistakes of 1% or 2% of everything. If we make a mistake and 2% of the payments go into the wrong direction, we can basically, because of our size, we can stop the economy, or have at least such an impact that society is all over us, whether it's via social media or let's say the mainstream media. It is basically everywhere. So since more and more transactions, also because of COVID, let's be clear, a lot of the cash transactions and paper-based transactions have now moved to digital. So that puts even more pressure on the digital payments platforms. Add to that the complexity of sanction screening, fraud, because that's something else that people forget. We have in an instant payment in Europe, whether it's within a country, between countries, or whatever, under the SEPA scheme, you can only take 5 seconds. In that 5 seconds, you have to decide whether or not is allowed to send it, sanction screening, whether it's fraudulent or not, and cyber everywhere. That also required us of rethinking how we're setting those kinds of, let's say, financial and non-financial risk systems up as well. And we're not there everywhere as it should be, but this is the kind of thinking. If you open 24/7, including Saturday, including Sunday, you cannot no longer use the weekends for maintenance, right? That we normally used to do. Central banks closed, banks closed. We use the weekend for maintenance. No, that's impossible anymore. So the complete technological setup and the technological stack and the people around us have also been completely changed. So besides, let's say, the technical part of it, we have become a real 24/7 technology company that with a huge responsibility to society.
Reconciliation was definitely a subject, mostly for the end of the day processing. In some cases, also end of the week and end of the month, especially the account settlement. Some of these organizations were doing it at the end of the month, which in this situation of open banking and real-time payments, and the speed at which the payments are moving might not be an excellent idea. So the reconciliation has to become near real-time or almost real-time scenario, which means we need to bring in the right technological changes to enhance our product, and SmartStream AI bridges that gap. So we have brought in artificial intelligence and machine learning to our platform, wherein you don't, as a business or organization, don't have to worry about where this data is coming from, what format of data it is, and what would be the matching criteria of the two sides of the data. SmartStream AI will do that for you. The whole onboarding process, reconciliation process would change the way we look at reconciliation. It's no longer many months of implementation process to get the first results. That would be at your fingertips. If you decide to bring in control in your application, we have a platform for you in SmartStream AI to support you there.
So Mark, what's next for ING, and where could payments technology go from here as a result of open banking?
The next couple of months, they're pretty clear. We will keep on working on making ourselves more digital. We'll keep on supporting our customers towards the end of the year, but that's more a general banking question. What's going to happen in the different countries with a second wave and lockdown, etc. We're there for our clients to help them through this period, decomposing our offering into small microservices, making use of offers of third parties that we integrate into our own platforms. I guess that is going to be one of the key things that will never go away and will even get better, especially. And I don't think it's not necessary if the European Commission says by 2024 you all need to be open on every product in the financial industry. But it certainly will drive it. We'll keep investing in this, because not only our consumers are asking for it, but our corporate clients are asking, financial institutions everywhere. So that is one. Second, the only key there, or the key point there, is how consistent can we be in the way we're operating. If we can be consistent, and you have a market of 500 million people, you can become big as well, and then we're less dependent on solutions coming from other continents and other countries.
Well, that's all we've got time for today on today's episode of the Paytech Show. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about how the payments industry is going through a massive change, and how banks like SVB and ING are becoming very different platforms as a result. It's certainly an exciting time to be in payments. Thank you Santosh, Mark and David for your input, and to you watching at home. Goodbye.